All right, so the learning objective I chose was number 17, which was describe various aspects of infant vision, auditory, olfactory, and gustatory perception. So, in other words, for the definition, this means understanding how babies see, hear, smell, and taste, and how these early sensory abilities shape their interactions with the world around them. So, to start with vision, infants are born with very limited visual clarity. So, they can see only about 8 to 12 inches clearly, just enough to focus on a caregiver's face. And their ability to track moving objects is still developing. Over the first few months, their depth perception, color vision, and ability to focus becomes much more sharp. And when it comes to auditory perception, infants actually begin responding to sound before birth, and by the time they're born, they can recognize familiar voices, especially their mothers. They are particularly sensitive to high pitched tones and rhythmic patterns, which is why sing song speech captures their attention so easily. So, for olfactory perception or sense of smell, newborns are surprisingly advanced, so they can detect and differentiate scents almost immediately. And research shows that they prefer the smell of their mother over unfamiliar adults within the first few days of life. And finally, in terms of gustatory perception, or also known as taste, infants can, excuse me, can distinguish between sweet, sour, and bitter flavors at birth. Sweet tastes tend to soothe them, while bitter tastes usually create negative reactions. So, like if you give a baby a lemon, it won't be too happy. So how does this connect back to what we're learning about in class? So application and connection now after our examples. These sensory abilities are the foundation for early movement exploration and learning because, like for example, improved vision helps infants reach accurately for toys, follow movements in their environment, and eventually coordinate hand-eye actions and coordination. Their hearing supports early communication behaviors like turning towards sounds and imitating vocal patterns. Smell and taste contribute to feeding behaviors and early emotional bonding as well, which influences an infant's willingness to explore, engage, and interact physically with the world. So, all of these sensory systems guide how infants orient themselves and how they respond to stimulation and how they begin forming the motor patterns that we analyze throughout this course. So by understanding these sensory abilities, we can better understand why infants move the way they do, how they learn to control their bodies, and how early experiences shape the skills they build over time. So that's my definition, examples, application, and connection. Thanks for watching.